Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Jay's Fit Down podcast. Again, we're recording live here from Georgia State, and today we're just going to be discussing, recapping week one of the NFL. That's really what I'm going to focus on today. It was an interesting week in the league, first kicking us off with the Lions and the Chiefs. I gave my preview for that game on the last episode. I had the Lions going to win this game, and they did barely, so we'll talk about that and some other notable week one games. I think, of course, we don't always want to overreact to the first week of the season because, it's teams are still, most of the team stars didn't really play that much in the preseason. So it's the first time they're really getting a lot of reps under their belt, right? First time, everybody's back on the field, just trying to get in the groove of their schemes, their offense, their defense, whatever the case might be. So it's going to take a while for a lot of teams around the league to mesh and gel and, get to where they need to be. It's going to be a while before they do that. So we'll talk about that and much more here on the podcast today. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Check us out. Subscribe on the Family J's Sit Down. We're going to keep you guys covered every week with something here. So please make sure you guys do that. Now, first off, I want to recap the Lions and the Chiefs. This was a game that was very interesting to me. It was because, of course, Travis Kelce misses out. He's hurt. He doesn't play. Do the Chiefs win if he plays? Most likely. But he didn't play. And so good credit to Detroit for coming in there and doing what they're supposed to do in their job, taking advantage of that situation. Hey, Kelce's not playing, so their receivers, they don't really have a true number one wideout without Kelce on the field. So the Lions played defense to where they were able to just play a lot of man, play a good mix of man and zone coverage, and that's just the players for Chiefs really couldn't get the receivers, more specifically, just couldn't get it done. I mean, Kadarius Toney had 3 drops. He one of the targets that was thrown to him ended up being a pick 6 because he was having an off night. So I'm sure he'll bounce back from that. Maybe he won't. I don't know. But other than that, Sky Moore, Marquez Valdes-Scantling had a big play or two. But other than that, he didn't really impact the game. The Chiefs have got to find a way they've got to find somebody to become a number one receiver. Because if not, then see, it's different than last year because they had Juju Smith-Schuster, right? So he kind of, he's not a great number one receiver by any means, but he's a solid receiver. He's a guy that he can win his matchups. He's a great player. He was taken at where he was in the draft for a reason. He was a great compliment to Antonio Brown in Pittsburgh when he was there. So now it's now that he's not there, who's going to be that number one guy? Marquez Valdes-Scantling, I mean, he was forced to be that in Green Bay. I mean, he didn't do a spectacular job of that, when Adams wasn't playing, but still, I don't know, if he could be that guy, but they one of those receivers has got to step up and they've got to make themselves a viable target for Patrick Mahomes when Travis Kelce's either hurt, not playing, or he's getting locked up in coverage, right? So that's locked down in coverage. So that's what they have to do. Patrick Mahomes looked off a little bit. I mean, too, he still had a decent game statistically, of course, not to his standards. But again, Travis Kelce was not playing. So Isaiah Pacheco, of course, going through the backfield. Listen, that dude's a beast. He's a great player. He was huge for them last year during the season, especially when he took over that lead running back role from Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and he just did a great job filling in and getting those tough yards, especially in the playoffs and the Super Bowl, especially. So happy for Pacheco there that he's getting the touches that he deserves. But other than that, they're going to have to find another source of playmaking until Travis Kelce comes back. And then on the Detroit side of things, Jared Goff did well. He played decent. I mean, didn't turn the football over, I don't believe. Jahmyr Gibbs, as I predicted, he played well, really well in the passing game. His explosiveness, you saw that. Amon-Ra St. Brown had a good game. Just overall, Brock Wright had some very good catches. Khalif Raymond. The Lions have a lot of players that they can step up when they need to. Those are guys that they can step up when they need to in key moments, and that's what they did. That's what Detroit's been doing since middle of last year when they turned things around, finding ways to win close games and finishing things out. That's what they're good at. That's what they've been able to do. And I like that they did that. So, it was just kudos there to Detroit for going up there and getting that win, one of the toughest places to play in the league, in Arrowhead Stadium. So, now shifting over, another game I really want to take a note of here was the Vikings and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This was a game where I was not, expecting the Vikings to look, immaculate and blow out, Tampa Bay because everybody thought the Bucs would suck. Baker, Baker Mayfield's a quarterback, and they had some offensive alignment hurt, and Tampa Bay has some issues there, but they went in there and got a win. Baker got them there. He took them up there, got them a win, and against a decent, supposedly decent Vikings team. Justin Jefferson still ate up. He had over like 150 yards. But that's just going to happen. But the Buccaneers found a way to win. So both. I'm sorry. Yeah. So they found a way to win, right? They found a way to win. And the Bucks and the Falcons are both victorious in week seven, and the Saints, of course, in the NFC South in week 1. So Falcons currently lead the division, but they're tied, of course, with Tampa Bay and New Orleans, Carolina 0-1. So it's interesting. I mean, can they build off of this momentum? You played a good team that has a lot of talented players, a decent quarterback, and you go up there and get a win. So can you build off of that if you're Tampa Bay? And Mike Evans, I mean, he's still seeking that contract extension, so we don't know what's going to happen with that. I'd imagine they pay him his money, but we don't know, right? So overall, I really thought this, and again, this was a game where the defense just they got after Kirk Cousins. They got after him. They got after him a lot, and it just made life tough. I mean, when your offensive line cannot protect your quarterback, that's just what's going to happen. You saw that with the Giants and the Cowboys in Sunday Night Football. We don't even need to talk about that because it was a 40-point blowout. So that's the only thing. For Minnesota, I mean, they're going to have to be able to keep Kirk Cousins upright. That's the main thing of it. And Tampa Bay, again, offensively, can you, generate a little bit more consistency, but can you build off of this game momentum-wise heading into your next matchup? That's the other thing. That every time you get a win, ain't really win or loss, but most importantly, wins. You find the things that you can build on, and carry them into the next week. That's key for teams and really in all sports, but most importantly football. So that's my whole thing about it. And really, the other big matchup I really want to talk about that was important to me. Really important to me was the Chargers and the Dolphins. Dolphins got this win. It was like 30-28 or something like that. Tua had over like 450 passing yards. I mean, 2 or 3 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill, 215 receiving yards. If Tua stays healthy, I tell people, Tua, if he stays healthy, the Dolphins can be a very decent team. Maybe good team, right? I won't say great, but it'll be a decent or good team. They just need their quarterback to stay healthy. That's all. Can he stay upright? Can he stay healthy? And because you have the weapons, you have those players that you can get the ball to out there, and that's what they did. And the Chargers, I just don't understand. I don't understand the Los Angeles Chargers. To me, I mean, they make no sense. They have so much talent, and they just keep they. I saw this one stats they score over the last 5 or 6 games. They score over 25, 28 points, and they lost them all. They just can't find ways to win when they need to win. They can score the points, but the defense is not. Even sometimes when the defense is playing well, they still just cannot find what you have to find ways to win. You have to find ways to better coaching has to come into play as well. You got to coach better. You got to draw your guys up for better plays and situations and outcomes. That's the biggest thing to me. Of course, the players are executing on the field, but it starts from top to bottom. The coaches have got to execute, have got to draw up a game plan that's going to benefit the players to where they can go out and execute and perform, and where it's going to lead them to victory. And it's also those decisions, and those in-game decisions, the late game decisions. You got to be better at those as well. Got to find ways to get the win there. for the Chargers. And until they do, I just don't see them. I don't see them really doing anything other than maybe being a wild card team like they were last year against the Jaguars, and they blew a 27-point lead. So for Los Angeles, I mean, man, you got to get better. At just being, you got to be more consistent. You got to be more consistent. You got to get these wins. And of course, everybody's talking about this. Aaron Rodgers, getting injured in his first couple plays as a New York Jet officially at MetLife was a horrible thing to see on Monday night. So he's out for the year with an Achilles injury. The team has already confirmed that, so he's out for the rest of the year. He's not going to play. Zach Wilson has been named the starting quarterback right now, as per reports. So, Jets fans, I'm sorry for y'all. I mean, hey, at least you had the hard knocks and the whole offseason build up, the hype. I know the vibes around New Jersey and New York were really cool with that, but as far as into the regular season and he only plays 4 snaps and he gets hurt, that's just a tough blow to a team, to any team when that situation happens. And I hate to see it for the Jets, especially because of all the offseason hype buildup, all of that just leading up, and they couldn't. They still got the win because the defense is great. They got great playmakers on the opposite side of football, and Garrett Wilson, who had an amazing catch. Brees Hall. I mean, this team is very talented. It's just the quarterback position. They needed that franchise star guy, that legend at the quarterback position, and they got it in Aaron Rodgers, but he gets hurt. He's out for the rest of the year. So now it's up to Zach Wilson to step up, put your big boy pants on, and get to work. Like you learn from Aaron Rodgers, so over the offseason, throughout summer, training camp, throughout the season, you're going to continue to learn from him. Just because he's hurt doesn't mean he's not going to help you. He's still going to be in the locker room, at practice, with the team. So it's up to Zach Wilson to continue to learn and get better each and every week and show that maturity and growth that he supposedly took from last season until now. That's what I want to see out of Zach Wilson. Did he grow up? Did he mature mentally? Physically. I mean, his decision making. Did he grow up in that way? Is he going to be able to lead this team to where they want to go? What that is specifically, I don't. Of course, they want to go to the Super Bowl. Every team wants to go to the Super Bowl. Only one team can win it. Now, where they go and where they want to go are two completely different things. And I don't know. One of those things, I don't know what the answer to that is. But all I do know is this: they will go as far as that team, as Zach Wilson can take them, because the defense knows what they have to do. Defense is straight; they know what they got to do. They'll go out and they'll play good football. Offensively, can you step up now, and can you just produce, score points, and win? So that's really my whole takeaways from that game. Pretty much overall, looking at week 1, like I said, you can't overreact from the first game of the season. So it's 17 games. It's a long year. So, it's just going to be interesting to see how things turn out, right? And we'll see what happens with Travis Kelce when he's going to come back. I'm not sure when that'll be, but for the meantime, Chiefs, like I said, have got to figure out a way to get somebody that's going to step up and get involved and be that go-to guy for Mahomes. Otherwise, the defense is going to be able to play. It's going to be a little bit easier for the defenses that they're going up against. So that's one thing I'm watching for. And another thing, too, I guess, would be the Giants. Get it together. You got your socks going off by the Dallas Cowboys on Monday night. So get it together. See what happens there. But thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Jace with Down. Make sure you catch week 2. Begins on Thursday night with the Vikings and the Philadelphia Eagles, Thursday Night Football. So that'll be on Amazon Prime, so you guys can check that out there. It'll be a fun match. Well, hopefully. Hopefully it's better than all Thursday night games we had last year. But yeah, it should be an interesting matchup with Hurts and the Eagles and the Vikings and Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, all that good stuff. Good football, so make sure you check it out. And we will recap after week 2 here on Jace with Down, so stay tuned for that. We will see you guys next time.